The Common Ground World Competition happening on September 3rd, 2024 will feature the Strawberry Ice Cream Cone meta. The craft requirements for the Strawberry Ice Cream Cone are 2 ice block, 2 salt, 4 strawberries, 1 milk, and 1 ice cream cone. It is crafted in the ice cream parlor with the fastest craft time of 2 minutes after it has been positively impacted by at least 3 passive cold, and is stored in the storehouse. For this competition, the Strawberry Ice Cream Cone will give 20,000 stars for each one sold. The trade time for this competition is 2 minutes with a 2 gasoline cost per trade. The starting layout provided for this competition is a desert biome facing east with a river on the south side. No ocean provided for this one. You start with everything you need to craft cornstarch with. You have 2 wind turbines, an industrial worker, and a warehouse to store energy in. You have 2 water pumps, 3 paved roads, and additional fuel storage, and an oil seep. You could sell cornstarch to get all the cash you need, but in my opinion, gold will be easier to scale up and get the cash quicker. I still recommend you sell some cornstarch to get some extra starting cash before you set up a gold rush. The cash boosts for this competition are ice block from 4,500 to 10,000 and cornstarch from 2,300 to 5,000. The rewards for this competition are the standard Gala rewards for reaching the top 1,200 placements in the leaderboard by the time the competition ends. Rewards are usually distributed directly to your account within 5 days. Now I'm going to show you this competitive design I created for the Strawberry Ice Cream Cone competition. No NFTs are required for this one. This one is doing 65 strawberry ice cream cones per hour. It's been running for over 15 hours now, so that is a stable production rate. I'm going to scroll through the production monitor so you can see all of the production rates. This design is similar to the chocolate and vanilla ice cream cone designs that I've shared before. They utilize a lot of windmills and a lot of salt fields, but those previous ice cream competitions that we did featured both a river and an ocean, and this one they are not giving us an ocean. That means we are not going to have all of that passive salty for the salt fields, which means all of the salt fields will be on a red craft timer, and that's why we need so many more salt fields in order to accommodate for all of the salt required to make the ice cream. That means more space will be taken up on salt fields, which would result in less space for other things, therefore a lower rate than intended. However, the production rate I got to is very similar to the production rates I did for the no NFT versions of the chocolate and vanilla ice cream cone designs that I shared. Now I'm going to explain all of the crafting processes, starting with the crafts from the windmills, which are sugar, salt, and cornstarch. I have 8 logger houses in charge of picking up wood from the 11 tree farms, which are all next to the river edge, so they have the 5 passive water that they need. The wood gets taken to the windmills. I have 10 tractors in charge of picking up all the crops, 2 sugarcane fields in specific spots where they have 4 passive water and there's no shade being casted on them, despite the fact that there's shade being casted on almost everything around them. And then I have 28 salt fields. All of them are on a red craft timer with no passive salting, since I mentioned there's no ocean in this biome. I have 7 cornfields, 6 are on a green craft timer, 1 is on a yellow craft timer, impacted by 2 shade from nearby windmills. I'm only using 2 silos, one on the east side and one on the west side. The one on the east side should be getting in the strawberries as well as brine and some of the sugarcane, and the one on the west side is mostly getting in the corn, but of course it also gets in some brine and some sugarcane, but it shouldn't be getting any strawberries. That's done on purpose, since the ice cream parlor is picking up the strawberries are on the east side over here, and the windmills crafting cornstarch are on the west side, along with the bakeries, which are the ones that are picking up the cornstarch. I have a total of 32 windmills. 4 of them are making salt on a green craft timer, which are the ones at the edges over here. Then I have 8 making sugar on a red craft timer. That would be this line, these 2, and these 2. And the remaining windmills, which are 20 of them, are making cornstarch. These 2 on a green craft timer, then the 3rd one over here on a green craft timer, and then all these other ones, which are a total of 17 windmills on a red craft timer making cornstarch. And then I have 5 storehouses storehouses, 2 on the east side, 2 on the west side, and then 1 on the north side over here. This one's not really necessary, but I can't really have any other buildings here since I don't want to cast shade on the nearby windmill. For the milk and the eggs production, I have 2 ATVs, 7 milk barns, 3 chicken coops, and a total of 29 meadows. Notice that the chicken coops are on the west side so that the eggs can go on these storehouses, which are close to the bakery since they are the ones that pick up the eggs. The milk will go on both sides since the bakeries need to pick them up, as well as the ice cream parlors. And for the strawberry ice cream cone production, I have the 3 bakeries on the west side in order to craft the ice cream cones with. You might be able to get away with just having 2 of these, but I decided to build 3 of them just in case. I didn't test if it would work with just 2, but I have a feeling that it will. I just wanted to mention that in case you wanted to try without the 3rd one. And I do have the strawberry ice cream cone production on the east side over here. 3 Santa's factories are being used. Each one provides up to 2 passive cold. This allows me to have the 3 passive cold that I want for all of the ice cream parlors, as well as the master wizards, which require it. The 2 master wizards are crafting ice blocks. They also have the 2 water drums that they need with these 2 water pumps right here. And the strawberry ice cream cones will also require strawberries. I have 4 strawberry fields for this. 3 are on a green craft timer. 1 is on a yellow craft timer because it's being negatively impacted by dirty. The strawberry fields don't actually care about shade. That's why I have them close to the windmills, and they only need 2 water. That's why I have that pond right next to them that supplies all the water that they need, and that provides me with all the items I need for the strawberry ice cream cones. For the gasoline setup, I have the 2 water pumps and the pond that I started with, as well as the oil seep in order to provide passive crude oil for the refinery crafting petroleum, which lets me craft gasoline without requiring any oil pumps or a forklift. So this is the standard gasoline setup with the 2 water pumps, 2 power plants, refinery in between them crafting gasoline, and a refinery to the side crafting petroleum with a fuel storage across from them. For the trade setup, I am using 2 trade depots since the trade times are high, 2 minutes, and 2 gasoline costs per trade isn't an issue since we're crafting a lot of gasoline with the oil seep. You shouldn't run out of gasoline even if you're constantly selling with these 2 trade depots at the 2-minute times. And 2 optional buildings are the lumber mill. This is used to craft lumber to build all this stuff, but you don't actually need this at the very end. Same thing goes for the warehouse. This is just to store energy in, which you can make energy with this power plant right here since it has the passive crude oil that it needs, but you don't actually need the warehouse at the end. So you could replace those 2 buildings with other things like an extra windmill or a tractor or a logger or something. And I also have 1 empty spot right here. It's next to the windmill, so you can't really do much with that one. And you don't want another trade depot because then it's going to cast 1 dirty on this strawberry field, and then you're not going to have enough strawberries for the current production rates. This fuel storage being right here and casting 1 dirty on this strawberry field, that is done on purpose. That's because it helps me balance the amount of strawberries I need. Here is what the auto sell looks like. I have all of the items at a trade quantity of 12, with the exception of the strawberry ice cream cones that is at a trade quantity of 10. Here's what the build looks like on the visualizer. Total cost is 27.7 million. Wages are 29,000 per minute. You will have no issue paying the wages once you are finished with the build. You can find the file for the visualizer on my Discord server, and an invite link is in the description. Now I'll share some last minute tips or suggestions. This is of course done without any NFTs, but if you do have the Express Depot, then you don't need this trade depot. You can get rid of it and just use the Express Depot on the north side. Unless you need more strawberries, then you could just have it over here since this doesn't negatively impact anything. That's why I have this trade depot here, but preferably you want the Express Depot over here. So if you do have the Express Depot and you no longer need this trade depot, I would suggest having another salt field here. This build actually does need a little bit more salt in order to potentially craft 68 strawberry ice cream cones per hour. You notice how the the ice cream cones is at 68, and I do have enough milk to potentially make 68 per hour, but I don't have enough salt. It just needs a little bit more brine in order to make that happen. And there could be other solutions. Maybe it needs another tractor, maybe it needs another windmill, but I do think it needs another salt field. One thing I did try is replacing this meadow with a salt field. You'll get the exact same production rates. You will get a little bit more salt, but the reason you're getting the same production rate if you do that, you're gonna end up crafting a little bit less milk, which is a problem. So you do need this many meadows. Of course, if you have NFTs to reduce craft times on meadows or the milk barns or any other stuff like that, then that's gonna help, obviously. But just if you have the express depot, you can easily replace this for a salt field and potentially get some more salt that way. And like I mentioned, the two optional buildings over here, the lumber mill and the warehouse, I would suggest replacing those for another windmill or another tractor or something more useful. And this empty spot next to the windmill, if you do have the town hall NFT, you can place it here. That will reduce the craft time of your tree farm, so that does help a little bit more. But even if you don't have any NFTs, I believe you could still improve this to 68 per hour, but you are definitely going to need to replace these two buildings in order to do that and just mess with things a little bit. Well, that's going to be everything for this build showcase. I hope you found this helpful or informative. If you did, please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing if you haven't done so. If you want to help support the channel, you can find links in the description on how to do so. And as always, I appreciate your support and thank you for watching.